Back in the wholesaling Stone Age, high tech was represented by the car phone that mounted in your trunk, a Kodak carousel slide projector, and a newfangled portable computer that weighed just less than a cinder block. Today's wholesaler has an amazing array of technological innovations that enable them to access previously unavailable data, stay organized in unimaginable ways, and connect to clients and prospects with lightning speed. Here in the 2020s, wholesalers who fail to embrace all of the technological opportunities available to their practice are simply destined to spend their time chasing the sales leaders that understand its power. I'm your host, Rob Shore, and this series of shows from Wholesaler Masterminds Radio is called Wholesaler Tech Talk, sponsored by YCharts. Our goal is to explore the technology behind the art, science, and lifestyle of wholesaling. So strap on your propeller caps as we dive in. In over 3 decades of wholesaling, I've never seen wholesalers more excited about technology. By presenting data-driven strategies accompanied by dynamic visuals, technology is enabling wholesalers to better market their products and reduce friction in meetings. That's why I'm excited to introduce you to YCharts, a sales enablement platform that provides the data and tools you need to demonstrate your fund's value to advisors. Using YCharts in real time, you can objectively compare managers' and competitors' strategies, discuss how economic conditions impact your funds, and pull up visuals to compare key data points. YCharts will elevate your distribution team's collaboration with tools that allow internals to push charts, comp tables, screens, and reports to externals on the road that enable more productive meetings and provide shareable content for value-add follow-up. And here's a special for you. YCharts is offering a free month to my listeners. Mention Wholesaler Masterminds when you email them at hello@ycharts.com or head to ycharts.com. Wholesalers, I don't usually like to timestamp our podcasts because I want them to be evergreen, you know. But this one I'm going to timestamp. We are in the middle, I don't know, is it the beginning? Is it the middle? It darn sure isn't the end of the whole coronavirus thing. What that means for so many of you is that firms have mandated that perhaps you don't travel via airplane, or maybe the firms that you wish to visit have said there will be no more group meetings, or you need to get special clearance to go into an office, so you otherwise have had your normal wholesaling routine undermined by this situation where we can't necessarily have group contact, or we can't necessarily be with advisors in the way that we would normally be. Well, this presents a unique opportunity. And the reality is here, it's an opportunity that we should be taking advantage of regardless of whether we are in a, shall I say the word pandemic. It may or may not be that, but it's a convenient word to use. Because, you should be better at doing virtual meetings. You could be more efficient and more effective doing virtual meetings. You can save yourself a lot of time and trouble by doing virtual meetings. You don't always need to be belly to belly, toe to toe with a financial advisor in order to be successful, especially if it's a financial advisor you have a relationship with. But the problem is, whether it is in the middle of a coronavirus pandemic or whether it is just business as usual, most wholesalers do not understand the power of, they know of it intellectually, but they don't know from a technology standpoint, they don't understand the power of using technology for virtual meetings, and they darn sure don't understand the moving parts. So we are your friends at Wholesaler Masterminds, and we went out into the community and found a recognized expert on virtual meetings. And she was gracious enough to come in and join us on literally 48 hours notice. Let me tell you about her. Our guest today is Marquesa Pettway. She is a former CNN associate producer of the business show Managing with Lou Dobbs, turned business reinvention strategist and professional speaker. She speaks and coaches about the technology presentation skills and technological logistics for working and speaking virtually. Speakerpreneurs, that's a term she created in 2004, and it breaks down the how-to of leveraging your expertise, time, and network from anywhere. Her entrepreneurial clients' results include creating diverse income streams, leveraging online technology, and creating a lifestyle business. Now, corporations are also an important part of her clientele, And they include Microsoft, Texas Instruments, PepsiCo, the U.S. Army, Grambling State University, and the list goes on. She's spoken in every state in North America. Marquesa Pettway, welcome to the new Wholesaler Masterminds radio show, Wholesaler Tech Talk.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Man, I got your introduction down, so that's a great start, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Goodness gracious. All right, so here's the thing. You are our expert when it comes to virtual meetings. So let's start with kind of getting over the hurdles of why should I consider this? I mean, Marquesa, my business, my life is visiting advisors belly to belly, toe to toe, over the desk, and now you're thinking I can do this at least in the interim, if not on a more protracted basis, virtually. How's that going to work? How am I going to be able to connect with people?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Believe it or not, it will save you so much time, energy, and best of all, you will still have the same connection that you had belly to belly.
How am I going to tell me? It almost sounds too good to be true. How am I going to have the same connection?
Well, first of all, it's all about thinking, wait a minute, I still have an opportunity to be eye to eye. I think that's what's most important. Now, a lot of the virtual platforms allow you to also just hear each other. But I find if you want a similar connection that you have in person together, then eye to eye is what matters. And as long as both parties agree to show up where you can see each other's face, which requires a simple webcam, which we all have either on our smartphone or on a laptop or on a computer. Nothing to think about. We don't have to go out and purchase anything. Literally just click a button and we're eye to eye.
All right,
let's think of it that way. And then from there, your meeting then begins.
Well, that's very helpful, because I know that there's going to be wholesalers that view it as quite a hill to climb. And there's going to be wholesalers that worry that their advisors are going to view it as quite a hill to climb. And I sent you an article just this morning, Marquesa, and I want to tell the wholesalers about it in case they haven't seen it. Wholesalers, this was in wealthmanagement.com. The title of the article that ran this morning, which was March 9th, was "What Time is the Coronavirus Conference Call?" And the subtitle was "Video Conferencing May Gain New Importance to Advisors and Clients as the Coronavirus Leads to Quarantines, Remote Working, and Self-Isolation." So your advisors are thinking about this. So there's a couple of opportunities here. One is for you to get really good at it so that you can conduct meetings with your financial advisors, with your centers of influence, either one-to-one or one-to-many. And then there's the opportunity of you to be able to show financial advisors exactly how to use this technology for their own benefit. So there's kind of a double-edged sword opportunity here. So Marquesa, let's start to break this thing down. I'm not going to go buy a webcam. I mean, I'm not buying a web. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is that black box they sent me from the home office, makes a really good doorstop, and 10 is, I know how to write code. I'm probably a good solid 3. So to make this easy for me, please, what am I doing for a camera?
Okay. Well, how about this? Would you agree that you have a smartphone?
100%. As a matter of fact, most of the wholesalers, including me, have iPhones.
Yes. So let's start there.
All right.
Okay. And if it's okay with you, I recommend one specific platform. There are several out there. And maybe later in the interview, if you inquire, I can share with you why the platform I'm talking about right now is the only platform you should consider.
Definitely. So we want to talk about all the different platforms that are available, and we're absolutely going to do that. But take me a little bit further down there. Okay, I got my smartphone, but
okay.
I've never FaceTimed. That's what you call it, right?
Yes,
Is that what you're talking about here? Is that what you're talking about here? I should use FaceTime?
You can use FaceTime, but I do not recommend that for a business meeting because it's limiting.
Okay.
Is that okay? So
Yeah.
that's why I want to take you in a different direction, but still using your smartphone.
All right. So FaceTime will, in fact, allow me to go face-to-face with audio, but that's probably
Absolutely.
not the best solution. And one of the things you told me in our pre-call is one of the main inhibitors to using FaceTime is it doesn't offer screen share, so I can show my person, my financial advisor, or my center of influence. I can't show them my stuff either on a PowerPoint or a PDF or anything else I want to screen share. I can't do that with FaceTime, right?
I agree. And I have documents, I mind map. Rob, I do all sorts of things. I need the ability to share my screen. So absolutely.
All right. So I know that you are a deep expert on a particular platform. But before we go there, wholesalers, I want you to be listening for all the goodness around this, because it could apply to Zoom, where we're going. It could apply to Webex, which I know many of you have installed from the company. It could apply to Join Me. It could apply to Loom. It could apply to a whole host of different technologies. But this expert is a deep expert on Zoom, so we're going to harvest her knowledge there. So what do I need to even get started with something like Zoom?
Okay, first things first, since we're on the smartphone, visit your app store and download Zoom Cloud Meetings.
Okay, so isn't there another one just called Zoom, or is it Zoom Cloud Meetings, a special one?
It's Zoom Cloud Meetings. Okay. Just Zoom is something else.
Oh, yeah?
So I would do Zoom Cloud Meetings, whether it's the iPhone or the Android.
How much does it cost me?
$0. Oh, so it's free.
Okay, so a price of nothing. All right, good.
There you go.
All right. So I get my app and take me, because I've never done it. Take me next. Where am I going next?
All right. So where you're going next, once you download your app, now the next decision you will make is, will I initiate the meeting or will I join a meeting?
Okay.
So again, it depends on who is leading the meeting or who put out the invitation.
Well,
which way would you like to go?
Well, let's talk about that in a granular fashion. So I'm going to be the one reaching out to the financial advisor and saying, hey, would you join me at this place? Now, you said something to me before, and it actually got reinforced, not that I didn't believe you because I did, but it got reinforced in this article, and that was, when you're suggesting that this virtual meeting take place, don't even offer a standard telephone number. Only offer a link to this meeting. How does that work?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I recommend, you can use Zoom for free, and that's what we're sort of talking about. But if you do pay for Zoom, you do get a dedicated URL, which would, of course, will start with zoom.us, and there will be several letters and numbers behind it. So I would start with, okay, I have my own Zoom account, which I highly recommend. You can get it as cheap as $14. And frankly, with all of the other platforms, it's comparable in terms of pricing. Mm-hmm. So I would send them, again, if I invited you, Rob, to meet with me via Zoom, I would send you a link.
Okay. Now, tell me a little bit about your best suggestion for kind of tenderizing this a little bit. So there's going to be advisors that this is going to be foreign to. I mean, a great deal of financial advisors are in the 50 plus crowd. And this whole notion of how to be prepared for a virtual meeting might be completely foreign to them. So I think part of our consideration, Marquesa, should be not just how does the wholesaler prepare to get the meeting underway, but what should they do to prepare the client to be a recipient of the meeting?
Oh, I love that question. Well, first of all, Rob, just on a side note, I just turned 50. You're still young. So
true.
Worry about it. Don't worry about it in terms of age.
Yes.
And if anything, oh my goodness, the older I get, the more I want to leverage my energy. So if I can accomplish the same things without leaving my household, especially during the whole coronavirus situation, I'm going to use every single resource. To your question, if I'm getting my client ready to meet me, again, I will let them know I'm going to send you a URL. Just click that. And once you click that, guess what? You're going to see my face and I'm going to see your face.
Now,
go ahead.
I'm just going to be stupid here for a second now.
Okay.
So they're going to say, okay, can I do that for my laptop? Can I do that for my desktop? Can I do that for my iPhone? Can I do that for my iPad? Where do I have to do that from if I'm on the client side of the equation?
Guess what? Are you sitting down?
I am.
You can do it from all of the above.
And it should be mentioned, though, in order for this to be really a video virtual meeting, they need to have some camera competency on that particular device, right? I mean, that's just kind of statement of the obvious.
Absolutely. And guess what? Even if, and there will be situations where your client may not have a webcam or their webcam may be blocked by a firewall.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I had a call with Microsoft, they had to unblock the firewall in order to use their webcam. So the beautiful thing about the Zoom platform is I can still have a meeting whether I can see them or not.
Okay, so the default would be, that is to say that the backstop would be, it would turn into an audio only.
Exactly.
Okay, now there was something mentioned in the article that I thought was really kind of interesting. Again, I go back to that article that was in wealthmanagement.com. Somebody had suggested and actually produced here's what you can do on your side to have a better meeting with me video that they recorded in advance and just had a link to that they uploaded, say, to YouTube or to Vimeo. So they had that available for the client to click on that told them about, make sure that your firewall is turned off or make sure that you can access your video. What do you think of that?
I think that that's wonderful. And I've certainly sent out short little intro videos. But again, my clients are busy, and to ask them to watch another video, no matter how short, may be a little overwhelming. Yes. And then they'll come to the call thinking, oh, I didn't get a chance to watch your pre-video. Yes. So what I would do instead is maybe send, and I do this, is I'll send a short little document. And I will say it would be great if you have a webcam. Most computers, laptops have a webcam. If you do not, every single smartphone has one. Never met a smartphone that didn't have some kind of video component as a part of it. Then I would mention to them, put on your earbuds. Simple earbuds. Everyone has earbuds. If you happen to have an external mic, that is wonderful, but is not required. So you can put on those simple earbuds, use whatever video component you have, and boom, click that link and you will see me and I will see you. And the only other thing that I'll suggest is please choose a quiet area to prevent background noise.
And that's super important going in both directions. All of what you just said is super important in both directions because the wholesaler could be out there thinking, okay, so I'm down for this. I can do the Zoom thing. Do I need a special microphone? And the answer is no. I heard you say I can do it through my earbuds, or if you really have no choice, by the way, iPhones have rockin' good microphones. You could do it just with the microphone in the phone, correct?
Absolutely. You can use, and you know what? I use Bluetooth all the time. I don't know about you, Rob.
Yep.
So you can also speak directly from your Bluetooth earpiece. Or if you're like me and you want to sound amazing, kind of like you do right now, Rob, then I would suggest a Blue Yeti mic, which can easily be purchased on Amazon for less than $100. It just depends. I look at it like this. My meetings are important. My business meetings where I discuss all sorts of things. I'm building the relationship. The client needs to know, like, and trust me. So I'll make that investment of less than $100 to get a really good mic. But worst case scenario, you can certainly use earbuds for sure.
Yeah. That was just my mind was going off to something you said about using that headset I already use. I already use a headset for Bluetooth in my car, so I could potentially just use that same headset to do my Zoom meeting with my advisor.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's a good thing to know. All right. So the other thing is, your surroundings, right? I mean, if we're doing a video meeting, and I know some of this is basic, wholesalers, but I'd rather do basic and have you come out looking brilliant than not do basic and have you make a faux pas you didn't even think about. So what are some of the environmental things to be aware of? Now, look, I know you live in Manhattan, Marquesa, so there's no way that you can avoid having NYPD or some sort of ambulance scream by at any hour of the day or night. I know that to be true. But what can we do that we can control to make our environment better for one of these meetings?
Well, I have a wonderful resource that's free, and if you purchase it, very inexpensive. It's called Krisp, kind of like I eat Krispies.
Yeah.
Krisp, Krisp.
Okay.
Believe it or not, Rob, if you buy that, add it on your desktop or laptop, it will block out any noise in the background, which is fabulous. Kind of like sometimes we'll buy earphones because I know we travel a lot and I want that background noise out. Well, guess what? There's an alternative, or there's an option also for online. And believe me, that's not tech at all. Krisp, Krisp, is wonderful for blocking out the noise. In addition, I would go into a closed room or conference room, or I wouldn't do it in an open cubicle, but just somewhere where there's just limited noise in terms of audio. But there are some other background things I would mention as well.
Yeah, most of our folks that are listening, especially our external wholesalers, are going to be operating from their home offices. So it's just that opportunity to know that, to the extent it's possible, and wholesalers, or if you don't know, you should know, I'm a massive pet dog lover. I mean, things are going to happen and don't freak out about it. But at the same time, be as prepared as you can. Take a look behind you, You don't necessarily want that really, let's just say, not neat bookcase behind you, because you're giving off that.
That's what I was going to talk about. Yeah, you're right. You want the background to be decluttered and simple and not distracting.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You want that professional image around you. So just be aware of that. I think it's just important to mention. All right, so look, here's the deal. Marquesa, you don't necessarily know our industry, but we talked about before, my meetings can either be one-on-one, and some of those meetings are being railroaded because I can't even get to Detroit. I live in Chicago. I can't even get to Detroit because the firm said don't fly.
Okay.
Another problem could be I am in Detroit, but the Merrill Lynch office is no longer welcoming in outside visitors for breakfast meetings. So now there's this opportunity. I can talk with my wholesalers about how to actually inspire a group attendance at a meeting in light of having a face-to-face attendance. But technologically, I can do how many on Zoom?
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you asked that question. For the free version, as well as the pro version, you can go up to 100 participants.
What?
Yes.
Including video?
Including video.
That's bananas. I didn't even know that number was that high. So in a real life situation, let's say, I'm scheduled to have a meeting with a team that's supposed to make a decision about a placement in one of my strategies. And I'm supposed to meet with these 5 folks, and these 5 folks canceled because of the underlying stuff going on. I could send them all the same link. They could all join me on Zoom, and I would have 5 shining faces plus mine, 6 shining faces on Zoom, and Zoom actually figures out who's talking and makes them the main person on the screen. Isn't that right?
Well, it does if you're doing a webinar, but if it is a Zoom meeting, there is a difference, as a side note, between a Zoom webinar, which tends to be one-to-many, although you can promote participants into have the same privileges as you have, or just a straight meeting, which means everyone has equal footing. Now, the hosts themselves can decide if, hey, do I want, when everyone comes in and there's a lot of noise, do I want to block out that noise automatically? Just a quick little tip, and this is easy. Again, if you're using a Zoom account and it's a paid Zoom account, which again is low in price and comparable to all others, I would go into the settings, Rob, and I would mute people on entrance. That way, let's say that it's a meeting of 10 people. And let's say that David is coming to the meeting, but he's 10 minutes late, or Lisa is in traffic, or like you mentioned, Marquesa in New York City, she's got an ambulance that shows up every 15 minutes. That can really become distracting. Yep. So what I would do is put in my settings to mute up on entrance. And if for some reason you're like, oh, that Marquesa girl told me to do mute, but I forgot, as the meeting host, you can easily just take your mouse, go above the person's head. You'll see their face. Right above their head, there's 3 dots. If you remember anything else with this lovely show, remember the 3 dots. Those 3 dots give you so much power. You click those 3 dots and you can put that person into mute. You can hide the video. You can do so many different things.
So Marquesa, in your vast sum of stuff, and I know you have a lot of stuff, do you happen to have a cheat sheet that is available for us about Zoom? Because, I'll remember the 3 dots and then I'll get in my car and I'll forget the 3 dots, and the 3 dots are really important. So do you have anything that you can offer our listeners?
I do. If they go to zoomstrategically.com.
You have a website?
Yes, I do. Can you believe it?
I love it. Zoomstrategically.com.
There you go. You said it perfect, Rob. Absolutely.
That is awesome. All right. So let me recap. Circa 2020, there is a revised expectation on the part of our customer that virtual meetings may in fact be acceptable even when there isn't a pandemic that is on the horizon. Given the current state of affairs, learning how to operate in a virtual meeting world is not just optional, it could well be mandatory if you want to keep your business on track for meeting with clients, meeting with prospects, meeting with centers of influence, etc., until all this craziness passes us by. Marquesa, I heard you say that when it comes to the actual hardware, our iPhone is a brilliant device to use. When it comes to hardware, using our earbuds or using our Bluetooth headset is perfectly acceptable. When it comes to software, yes, you could use Webex. Yes, you could use Join Me. Yes, you could use Loom, but your preference, based upon your deep expert knowledge in it, is Zoom. And Zoom will allow you to do not just one-to-one, but it will allow you to do one-to-many and do it in a super simple way that removes kind of the barriers that might stand in the way of the user and yourself connecting, especially if they are less technologically proficient. Was that a reasonable summary of what the heck we just talked about?
Yes. And if it's okay, Rob, I'd like to just take 1 minute to share with you, because I know people are going to say, well, wait a minute, I use Webex and I use Skype and Join.me. But just like a 1 minute reason why, in comparison, because I want to save your listeners time.
Yep.
Sort of just a high executive overview. Yep. 1 minute or less.
And just so you know, because I want to set expectations, some folks will be able to make that decision and other folks will be mandated by their company as to what platform they use. But definitely, while we have you here, we want your expert comparison insight. Go for it.
Great. So Zoom in comparison with Webex, with and Join.me, with Skype, and so on and so forth. Number one, user friendly. Some of the other ones are not user friendly. Click Meeting, awesome, but not user friendly. Video participant view. Many of them do not have a way where you can have unlimited video participants, or at least up to 100. Video quality matters. I mean, I kind of care about the quality of the video. What if I want to record it if I'm allowed to? That's important. Or if I don't want to record it, I just want to see your face. That's important. Breakout sessions. You mentioned earlier, Rob, how many participants? Well, if there's a lot of participants and for some reason we want to break out into smaller groups, you can do this on the Zoom platform. Capacity. I shocked you when I said 100 participants. I know for a fact with Webex, it's 8. Better screen sharing. Zoom is one of the only that will allow you to do multiple screen sharing. Oftentimes, if you do screen sharing, you can't do it with video. So that's really big. Meeting follow-up. I don't know about you, and I'll admit it. I'm being vulnerable here. I don't always follow up very well. Zoom does it for you. I know you're shocker, but they're going to have to download the resource to figure that out. But Zoom will follow up for me, which is great. It's kind of like an assistant.
Wait, because follow-up process is an Achilles heel of most wholesalers. Heck, it's an Achilles heel of most sales professionals. So you're saying if I go to, what was the dedicated URL again? Zoomstrategically.com. I will find that in there.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. All right. Go on.
Okay. Yes. Virtual backgrounds.
Okay.
Which in Zoom world is sort of like green screen. What if I'm meeting with a client and I want to put their logo behind me? How awesome is that?
Yep. Cool.
Record, in case you can do it, understanding, because you educated me, Rob, that not all companies will allow this, but if you are allowed, or if your client agrees, you can record the meeting, because I can't remember half of what we talk about. So I record my meetings and I like a transcript. Yes, Zoom does that. And the final thing is Zoom has a plug-in or some kind of way that you can connect it to another app, even Skype. If I want to use a Zoom on Facebook, if I want to connect Zoom to my calendar, they make it easy for me to do it. And then the final thing is I can accept money through Zoom. Yeah. Yes.
Which for this audience is not as relevant, and for folks like you and me is really relevant. All right. Yes. So wholesalers, here's the deal. I want you to promise me that you're going to, whatever the platform, whatever the platform, and Marquesa makes the amazing case for why Zoom is the best choice. And frankly, to her and to me, it doesn't really matter. What matters is you have an opportunity. And the opportunity is, while other wholesalers are taking cover under their desk, while other wholesalers are trying to pound out emails that are not getting answered, while other wholesalers are trying to dial voice-only calls that aren't necessarily being responded to in the same fashion, you, my friends, will get your arms around virtual meetings and figure out a way to elevate yourself from the nasty, diabolical sea of sameness. Marquesa Pettway, thank you for your brilliance today.
My pleasure, Rob. Thank you for asking me. I love this. I do not work for Zoom. I just use it in my business every day. So it is my pleasure.
Wholesalers, come back next time for another episode of the new Wholesaler Masterminds radio show and Wholesaler Tech Talk. Does this sound at all familiar? You've had a successful meeting with an advisor. You've made a note to reschedule her for another meeting next time you're in town. You place a call, you send an email or two, and you don't get a reply. And even though you intend to follow up to secure the appointment, the advisor drops off your radar. That, right there, is where Wholesaler Mastermind schedulers come in. We excel at what we call pleasant persistence, staying after your list of appointments to be scheduled with dogged determination, remaining consummately professional and, well, pleasant. We've scheduled over 46,000 appointments. How many can we schedule for you? Check out Wholesaler Mastermind Schedulers at WMMschedulers.com. That's WMMschedulers.com. You'll find all of our content at WholesalerMasterminds.com, and the podcast can be found at iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play.